money, everything is expected to be straight. It's like it seems wrong way.
My name is called James. I host this news every morning.
And the Golden Angel Award ceremony.
Hello, dear friends, my lovely audiences, my dear brothers and sisters. Welcome to the East-West Show. Ever since the start of the pandemic, this is my happiest moment for the happiest show because I've been looking around for everybody, possibly everybody, to help me to bring an overall picture about what we're talking about, right? Until today, right? I get two wonderful individuals. They are my dear friends, Dr. Mary, Taheri? Taheri, all right. Mary Taheri is a wife of my dear friend Omar Akram, and I love them dearly, same as how I love myself. And welcome to the show.
Thank you
Doctor.
so much
All right.
for having
You know
us.
what? Do you think doctor is the sweetest word these days? It refers to the doctor, right? It refers to the doctor, not only a degree. The doctor, all right? And speaking of doctor, next to her is Dr. Chang, Allan Chang. He runs his own clinic. However, he's a professor of the Alhambra Medical University.
Yes.
And now he is a volunteer in the fight of the pandemic of the community. Once again, the word doctor gets sweeter twice.
Thank you.
All right. So to both of you, welcome to the show.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much
It's my
for
pleasure.
having us.
Yes.
Very
Yes.
good. And of course, we came in all wearing this.
Yes.
Yes.
Right? And for the fact we want to show audiences our lovely faces, so we decided to take them off. However, for the record of history, we want the history to remember once upon a time, there are some brief doctors who joined the Jack Chow, the show host, and the show, talking about how we can survive.
Yes.
Yes.
Right? So, what is the overall picture now?
We're heading towards the right direction as far as everybody's pitching in to do their part.
And by the way, Dr. Mary is the director of what is that?
It's the quarantine
The
isolation.
quarantine, and also clinic director, right?
Yes.
Of the Los Angeles County Department of Public Health.
Department of Health Services.
Department of Health Services.
Yes.
They both represent an angle, one from the government, one from the local efforts.
Yes.
So once again, I'm sorry, I missed that part. I was so excited, excuse me, for this many months, I've been waiting. All of a sudden, I'm so excited. We're only human now, right? Please, go back to you,
Yes.
please.
So we've been, it's because we've been busy. Otherwise, we would have been here a lot earlier. In March, we started our first efforts in creating a quarantine isolation site, we meaning Department of Health Services of Los Angeles County, and my medical director, Dr. Heidi Bey-Feroz, and I, along with the team of Housing for Health, we created the first quarantine isolation site at the Dockweiler, which is in Playa Vista near Marina del Rey. And then we started the Bell Gardens quarantine isolation site about 4 weeks ago. And so this is our second one through Department of Health Services, which is known as DHS, Los Angeles County. And DHS LA County, along with Department of Public Health, have partnered up and have created now 7 quarantine isolation sites.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
I see. All right.
And so the purpose of these quarantine isolation sites are not only for the homeless. I want to make this very clear. It's not only to quarantine or isolate our homeless population in Los Angeles County, but we've taken care of first responders. Jack, we've taken care of who are either positive or needing isolation. We've taken care of our own brothers and sisters in front lines, fire department, healthcare providers, nurses, and grandmas, grandpas, children, pregnant women, families. So the purpose of these isolation and quarantine sites are so those that are not able to isolate inside their home because they have other family members that they don't want to expose to coronavirus because they are positive, and they can't afford or they don't want to go to a hotel room and be alone. So then they come to us. And what we have done at DHS and DPH, we've taken hotels and converted them into isolation and quarantine sites.
Very good, very good. And I would say, my dear brothers and sisters, finally, we're very happy. Once again, I would like to emphasize one thing, that our tax dollars, the money that we've been complaining for so long, has finally been put into good use and at good timing. Right.
Yes.
Thank you for that, for doing
you.
that. Well, Mary has brought us, Dr. Mary has brought us the government efforts, though, from the local efforts, though,
Yes.
from a local professional efforts. What a picture do you have so far?
Oh, well, first of all, thank you for the opportunity to let us speak up about the government efforts and what we've been done to help the communities. According to my understanding so far, from the medical point of view, the isolation unit has been set up for two different purposes. One very clearly is already explained by Dr. Taheri. The other one I'd like to add a little bit more is we try to share the loading from the regular hospital. The reason is if the COVID-19 patient is be flooding all the local hospitals, their general function is going to be seriously jeopardized. They cannot function very well. So we offload whatever they have, and we accept a lot of patients from them as well. So that's the other purpose we set up this place.
And little thing to mention, that a friend of mine who's a doctor told me that those kind of virus thing is a regular thing almost every year, every day, ever since history. The fact we call it a pandemic is because it happens so much at a so short time, in such a crash, it crashes your system. And the fact that we have mercy, we have comfort by the coast, those still there, just waiting for that moment to happen, right?
Yes.
And is that part over?
Oh, not yet. Be honestly, so
far,
not
yet.
Yeah, we have couple information we can share with everybody. That's based on the understanding that we have for this little virus. I always talking about this. I mean, this is a very little, tiny virus, but it can generate real large, big
about
issues.
less than 100 nami.
Yes, that's true. I will fully agree with what all the pandemic experts talking about. This situation is going to be continuously from now on, and we just don't know how long it will be. But according to our movement so far, I think I fully agree with Dr. Taheri just mentioned. We are moving into the right directions. We've seen the trend going down, okay, and slow down. But still a lot of things we need to fight, we need to control. Number two, for the patient side, we also have a lot of hopes in the future. Although we don't hear anything positive and confirmed up to date, but I think it is coming up, okay, including the medical treatment, including the vaccines, or even including the latest one I heard is antibody that's made in the labs, and they can inject it.
With the blood thing, right?
Yes, with the blood we can inject it, and instead of the vaccines, we can have the antibody injected to generate the same function as we did with the vaccine. All these are very, very promising, and I hope it will start in the near future so we can get much better controls like we did with the flu.
So you're saying that The pandemic is still there. It's not over yet.
Yes.
The worst day is not over yet. However, we start to see some twilight.
Yes.
Am I right?
Yes,
Yes.
correct.
Does the county see the same way?
Yes, yes, we do. And I think that's why the government works together locally and just not only LA County, but with the state as well. And they work together to ensure the safety. And that's why, they have experts working on this before our governor actually allows these other essential businesses to open up. So it's not that they're doing it on their own. They're actually listening to the experts and having meetings, daily meetings, and ensuring the safety of our communities. The other thing that I want to mention, Jack, is, if I may, I've been practicing for over 20 years, and mainly in the emergency and trauma. And although this is a small virus, I have never in my career seen anything like this. And when I say anything like this, and I'm sure Dr. Chang can agree to this, and many professionals, how quickly a person deteriorates.
Exactly. Dr. Taheri mentioned a very good point that I was exactly to check with you, professional volunteers, for some professional views. Let's take a moment out. When we come back, we'll go from there.
Okay.
Right?
Sounds good.
So stay with us.
Everything expected. Continue to work on
My name is called James. I host the English news every morning.
And a Golden Angel Award ceremony.
Hello, dear friends, lovely audience, my dear brothers, sisters. I love you so much. I try, together with my team, everything possible, every moment possible, to bring you information. And by the way, ever since the start of the pandemic, when everybody stays home, though we are not, right? Probably I want to recall a scene last time, many years ago, when there was an earthquake. We see on television that Channel 2, right? Given that, at the time when the earthquake happens and the camera moves up to shoot at the lights were kind of swinging like this, and each of them stayed on the spot doing their job.
Yeah.
We're not that great. We take pride in that action, and we're happy to see we are one of them, right? To be one of them are the doctors. We call them first responders. We call them first responders to express what we feel from this part. How do you call it? Of our body. To show our respect, our thankfulness to them, right? Because, we're a society. We're like a train. You may take a nap, he may take a nap, she may take a nap, but the train goes on. Who makes the train go on? Is there somebody who must to do the job? They are the one. All right. So once again, my thanks with the huge appreciation
Thank you.
Thank you.
on behalf of my audience
Thank
and
you.
my team. All right, back to you. Talking about the fact that we are in it, the critical moment is still there, versus some twilight we have seen already, all right? And speaking of the homeless, though, ever since the start, I had 2 shows with my friend Joe Garner of West Covina. I raised my concern. I said, how about the folks on the street?
Yes.
They are the most vulnerable.
Yes.
Not only are they the most vulnerable, they could be the source of contamination if they are once affected,
Yes.
right? So I'm glad the county takes care of it. And to emphasize, to add on the quote from the story Dr. Taheri told us about the homeless guy saying you're 2 checks away from you and me?
Yes.
I had a friend who is a director of Hollywood, huge well-being director,
Yes.
Director Chris Nibby. Once I had a show with him talking about the homeless, and he says they are who I could be next step,
Yes.
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 right? Okay, I want to call the society to not take everything for granted. You're a check to check, you're 2 checks away, 3 checks away, you're 100 checks away. Doesn't make any difference. Doesn't make a difference. Things, bad fortune could fall upon everybody. Okay, speaking of bad fortune, I got to go to the professionals, say, to be honest, Dr. Taheri said that during her more than 20 years of medical practice,
Yes.
and never had once she heard anything about this much. And to tell you the truth, I don't even know what a virus is.
Right.
The word virus in English was the one that I found lately, right? So now they say the coronavirus is going to be with us either for quite a time, some time, or even forever. So my question, can we, or is it possible we come back to the old days where she and I seems not to know anything about it? We don't have to worry about anything about it? Is it going back to that way?
It's really hard to tell at this moment because we still have a lot of hopes with the new development. So like we just mentioned about the vaccines, the antibodies, and then even the medical treatments. So actually, for a lot of experts, we really keep our finger crossed, but we don't know for the moment. Even there's a lot of, positive developings on the way. So I was saying, if we want to go back to the old days that we have, the good old days styles.
Yeah, old days. Let's use the old days.
Yeah, that will be a little bit expectations. We don't know. We really don't know. So that's my personal comments on this.
But I like to say that we have incredible scientists all around the world, and I'm extremely hopeful that there will be treatment and prevention. But it may take time. We just have to believe in that, and we must come together and have hope.
Yes.
It's really hard to say. I'm kind of having a mixed feeling here.
Yes.
So that I'm more thinking about our next generation.
Yes.
Yes.
Right? You mentioned you use the word old days. So can our kids, our grandkids, enjoy the days of their days like our old days, with a totally naiveness of the virus? Being naive in this case is a good thing because you don't have to be worried about, right?
Yeah.
So, is it a good thing or bad thing? We all realize, oh God, we're not coming back.
Yeah. Well,
I think
Is it a good thing or bad thing?
It's a tough question, but my personal views on this is we might facing a certain period of time that the old days will not come back. But with the new developing, as we discussed, it can give the hopes. Yeah. And after the certain times, I do expect, and I do have the full belief we'll get everything back.
All right.
A good example I like to say here is like a smallpox. Back to the 15th centuries, if I'm not wrong. Sure. People went through that same thing. There's a lot of people died, and then the lifestyle was totally changed. Yeah. And if you look back with that, I think we went through that period in that window right now.
Also, when a few things that I hope that our communities and brothers and sisters, not locally but internationally, have learned from this pandemic is, there's some positive that came out of this, and I want to be very clear of what I'm saying. Families are spending more time together, okay? and
Yeah.
which is,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
we're learning as families how, you know, we're relearning each other and learning more about each other and about our children and about our spouses. So, because you're cooped inside the home,
Yeah.
right?
You can do lots of things more positively.
Yes.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And you
So-
could see, you know, a mom or a dad with their kids riding their bicycles, you know, with their masks, but they're together. Or you could see that they're spending you here because it's kind of like we don't have a choice, right? But it's turned out to be a positive thing.
Correct,
You're eating dinners together, breakfast together, lunch together at the same table. And I hope, and people I feel are more kind when I'm driving on the freeway. You know?
Good point. Good point. Dr. Chang.
Yes.
And Dr. Taheri, I have a philosophy or point
Yes.
that I want to make. I wonder if I'm right. I didn't mention this to anybody until I meet with you. Or is it a good thing or a bad thing to learn to know to belittle ourselves? We human beings for the past 100 years have been forgetting who we are,
Yes.
where we are from, and as a society, we use everything me-centered,
Yes.
I-centered.
Yes.
The iPhone, the iChat,
Yeah.
Yeah.
iRadio, I whatever.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
take a picture, you take a selfie, right? Whatsoever. Now it's time to learn. After all, you're so little.
Yes.
Yes.
Is it a good thing or a bad thing?
I would say
I
this is
think it's a
perfect.
good-
Yeah, it's a good
I
thing.
mean,
I feel
think
sorry
it's a
for
good-
ourselves.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
of course, we don't want to see deaths or anyone suffering. That, in that aspect, of course not. But how you're putting it, I agree as well. You
Yes.
know, in a positive way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we dig holes underground. We take resources underground, whatever we want. We take oils underground.
Right.
We cut down trees. We
Correct, yeah.
pollute our rivers, our
Yes.
water. Even the Atlantic Ocean has an island of plastic bags or so on and
Yes.
so forth.
Yes.
And we have a big hole above us. And the South Pole.
Yes.
Yes.
The ice are melting or so ever.
Yes.
The
Yeah.
big bears are there. I mean, the polar bears are
Yes.
dying and so on and so forth.
Right.
And look at what we're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how about just locally here in Los Angeles? We probably have the worst traffic nationally and maybe internationally, right?
Ooh, thank Lord you mentioned that.
Isn't it interesting that there are businesses now maybe will realize, hey, we could work out of the house
Yeah.
once
Yeah.
a week, you know, and
Yeah.
decrease the pollution.
Yeah.
You know?
Look the air.
Yeah, it's so clean.
Driving a car back in the old days used to be an option.
yeah.
Yeah.
You can drive a car, you can ride a bicycle,
Yeah.
Correct.
or you
yeah.
can take a bus.
Yes.
Yeah.
But right now it's a must, everything.
Yes.
I came here 40 years. So I've been here long enough to know the difference
Yeah.
back then and
Changes.
right
Yeah,
now.
and it changes.
Yeah.
So-
I mean, from my professional views, I do expect after the pandemic situations, we have less patients with high cholesterol, with diabetes, with hypertension.
That would be
I
great.
do expect like that.
Yeah, exactly. We probably want to mention that too. My dear friends, today with me are two wonderful doctors. They both are doctors, and they are the doctor kind of doctors. Dr. Mary Taheri and Dr. Allan Chang. Dr. Allan Chang is a professor of the Alhambra Medical University.
Yes.
And he's also a volunteer for the pandemic, for the community. And Dr. Taheri, Mary Taheri, is a director of the the Department of Health Service, and also he is a clinical director of LA County. So I feel that I'm bringing the crying baby to the mother now. I was swimming around everywhere for the answer. Now I'm bringing the crying baby to the mother. All right. Let's take a moment. We will be right back, please.
everything. We have to continue to work on it now.
My name is Paul James. I host English news every morning.
and a Golden Angel Award ceremony.
Hello, dear friends, my lovely audiences. Welcome back to the show. Jack Chow, with lots of enthusiasm. I would say that the enthusiasm I've been missing for at least for the past 2.5 months, talking about the pandemic. Reason being, like I said, I have a crying baby on hand. Now I don't have to worry. I can bring the crying baby to the mother. The mother being Dr. Allan Chang, professor and also a clinical doctor and also volunteer of the community. And Mary Taheri, and she is working with the county health, county department of health service. And right now we have somebody from the government, somebody from the local.
Yes.
So what worry do I have? Yeah, anyway, now to the point.
Yes.
You both mentioned the twilight, right? President Donald Trump say hopefully by the end of the year, right? And more academic research saying that probably early next year, right? And some say more conservatively, somewhere down the road we shall,
Yes.
in a kind of infinity way, right? To you as a county, because I know that you talk based on lots of academic researches and interviews, and you yourself on the line of it though, what would be the most amicable hope? Not to be overdone, not to be so pessimistic.
Pessimistic. I get
yeah.
that,
Whatsoever.
Sure.
Well, in my view, I was saying the vaccine as our flu controls at the moment will be the best way. Just a couple days ago, I started hearing the antibody injection things instead of vaccines. I mean, people can growing the antibody in the lab, and then we inject into the everybody, into the publics. So this will be short than the vaccines process, and also perhaps it's most effective. According to what I've seen, they say it's 100% control the virus to spreading and even reproductive on that. So
see.
that's my personal view: vaccine or the antibodies
So
injections. Yes.
in between vaccine and the cure though, what should we rely on more?
I think Dr. Taheri will answer this
Well,
question
you
more
know,
than me.
Yeah, Dr. Taheri might
He's a very
have
clear
better
views
view.
on this
Thanks, Allan.
isolation.
Let's cry to the government, all right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Here we go.
there we go. Yeah.
No, I mean, I'm hopeful within a year and a half, the most 2 years. So within 1 to 2 years, I'm hopeful that we'll have something solid.
All right.
Meanwhile, each person, it's not just, in my opinion, up to the government or first responders or healthcare providers. Each of us must take responsibility and accountability and be very cautious of our daily lives. I don't think we can go back to how, like you were saying, the old days.
You're right.
We must take responsibility as individuals to continue practicing the social distancing and and think different. I think most of us will live different.
You're right.
And that's
Good point,
that's a
Good point.
we can't, I don't want us to get down or sad about that.
In other words, we have to change our lifestyle.
Yeah.
Yes.
Our lifestyle.
Most likely.
Yeah.
For a healthy, better world.
Yeah. I have a feeling that if you have done enough research or study into history, though, you will find that everything has a background in history.
Yes.
Why people do this,
Yes.
why people show hands behind them,
Yes.
and turn around,
Yes.
and why people shake hands.
Yeah.
Now, say 100 years from now, when our kids see people doing this,
The elbow.
Yeah, the
elbow
elbow
touching.
shake.
bump.
well, everybody do it.
Yes.
But probably they need to find out from the books. Oh yeah.
How did that start?
Yeah,
Yeah,
how did it
because of
start?
that.
100 years ago, we have this.
100 years
Start,
ago, we
yeah.
had something, right?
Yeah.
With that, those are the things that shall remain. You
Yes.
think so, right?
Yes, I do. I do. Like I just mentioned earlier, in a certain period of time, I think our lifestyle will be changed, and we should facing some kind of new things that we ever have. But afterwards, after that period of time, let's call the window. After that windows, I think we may have a very good opportunity and chances to get the same lifestyle as we have today back.
In between wearing those face masks and keeping the social distances, though, which is more important? Which will last longer into our future?
My personal opinion, I hope that our mask wearing continues. I mean, both are very important, so it's difficult for me to say one or the other. But mask, because when you're coughing and if you sneeze, it's important to get cover. And if you use your hands and you touch other
Yeah,
things,
you use protection both ways.
yes,
Yeah.
Yeah,
you're protecting
coming
not
in, coming out.
exactly,
Right?
not
Right,
just
right.
yourselves, but people around you. So I hope that people will continue to use the masks, and until we have a solid foundation for a treatment or a prevention. That's
You know, Dr. Chang,
Yes.
As a media person, I'm kind of sensitive at looking around things around me, right? When I came here, what surprised me was that at the bank, when people are waiting, they're about 6 feet away from each other
yes.
Yes.
40 years ago. You recall, right? When I first came. And then later, when we get crowded, and the crowd goes on and on and on,
Yeah.
the distance kind of shortened.
Shortened.
I
yes.
didn't know that.
You didn't know that,
I
you didn't know
didn't
that,
know that,
right?
yeah.
Especially when you go to Chinatown, you go to Monterey Park,
Yes.
you go to Rosemead,
Yes.
right? Those kind of Asian compact places, you will see the distance kind of closer than the 6 feet. Now you look around, everybody's backing up,
Yes.
backing up.
Yeah.
So
Thank
you
goodness.
from that point, it's a good thing to remain that distance, right?
Oh, yes. It's absolutely a good thing to remain the distance, because that simply is give it a safe distance to spreading the virus to each others. So I would 100% agree.
So you,
The social safe distance is the nice
there's a
part.
problem too.
You know, yeah.
I
wanna say
always-
that, yeah.
you know what I mean, right?
Yeah, it is going.
If you always keep yourself 6 feet away, how are you going to make a girlfriend?
Yeah. I was going to
By
say,
looking at each other this way,
I know those that
without
are
hugging, without
single,
touching, without kissing,
Yeah,
It's
or
unfortunate.
you kiss with this.
yeah. That's a lifestyle. I mean, it's that's like we.
Somebody has
mentioned,
to answer
yeah.
it, right?
You know, I thought about this, and I've mentioned this
Yeah.
among our staff at work. It's so difficult for me because I'm such an affectionate hugger, and you kiss on the face or hug. It's been extremely challenging for me because I was raised that way, even among our colleagues, and I'm a hugger, or shake hands. It feels initially it felt like, am I being unprofessional? It was awkward not to shake hands during meetings and just hello, from a distance.
Yeah.
But you get used to it, and we don't want to lose sight of having love and affection for each other, but there's different ways to do that now, and we're learning the different ways.
Let's do the toe touch.
Yeah,
Yeah, they do.
They do the
it's
toe
either
touch.
the elbow or the toe.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad, Jack, you mentioned about this, because not just the social distance we have to keep 6 feet, but also a lot of different conditions. It's going to be changed. I mean, look the large meeting or conference gatherings. Look the school.
See? Yeah.
Look all this. It's going to be all changed. So I don't know if it's going to be good or bad for our society, but I think people just have
It's
to
different.
use to with it. It's different. This is the style, the lifestyle. Is
My younger son goes to Cal Poly,
Yeah.
right? And he told me that nowadays the students are talking about getting the tuitions back. or refund or
Yeah.
partial refund.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because they say, we are not receiving the same quality of education.
Yeah.
Yes.
Our questions are not answered the same way it should be. The faculties, everybody is home, we're not using them.
Yeah.
And the buildings we're not using. The air conditioning we're not using, everything.
Interesting
So
Yeah.
money back, they're
That's
talking about.
interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting point.
Yes,
Very interesting
very.
point. It's changed a lot of
The,
things. Yeah.
the other thing too, I have a 5 and a 7-year-old, and being raised in such an affectionate family, because I'm in the front lines every single day.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm bringing home. Even as soon as we were talking, Allan and I were talking about this, and even as soon as we get home, we shower and we change. I'm still hesitant to hold my little children.
You're right, you're right. All right, my dear friends, let's take a moment now. We come back. We'll bring you something very up to date. We need your comment. It is right or it is wrong to do so. What shall we do or what we shall say to this? Stay with us, please.
Everything we have to continue to work on it now.
My name is Paul James. I host English news every morning.
and a Golden Angel Award ceremony.
Hello, dear friends, my lovely audiences, ladies and gentlemen, my brothers and sisters. Good morning, good noon, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. However, we're talking about something that everybody, every single one of you must be interested because we are in the pandemic. We're talking about the pandemic. Ever since the start of the pandemic, I've never felt so enthusiastic in talking because I have two wonderful individuals with me. They are not only wonderful friends to me, they are wonderful friends to the community. In other words, if we all survive after this, we say they are lifesavers, right? We're not saying that because we're personal friends. We're saying that because they are among the first responders. Right? The Mary just said something very touchy. Being a mother, being a first responder, busy day working at the front line, the moment walks in, mama, 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 the baby rushes to her. She hesitated. Should I go take a shower myself first? Should I hug my dear baby who I haven't seen for whole day first? We're only human. You put this situation into you. You tell me the answer.
Yeah.
My respect.
Thank you.
All right. My respect. All right. Speaking of that, though, everybody has a heart. Every heart is made of flesh and blood, so that you could have a feeling, right? And plus, you have on top, you have something that functions, we call a thought, that you can use in the process of thinking. Now we have something in a city surrounding a subject. Should the county or should not the county use a hotel? There are some protests.
Yes.
So I don't know what to say about the protesters or to the protesters. I want to ask you your opinion to the protesters, please.
Well, if I may, I'll start, and I like Dr. Chang
Sure.
to
Or you
expand on
can
this.
flip a coin.
No, I think we're both on the same page.
Same
Sure.
page, yes.
And so I want to explain, if I may, Mr. Jack, the difference between a Project Room Key, which is, again, funded by our local government, and that is hotel rooms that are being designated for homeless population locally that are over 60 years of age or have multiple medical conditions.
Positive.
Not positive, they don't have the COVID, but they are at higher risk but they're on the street, so that makes them extremely vulnerable to this.
The
disease.
vulnerables among
virus.
the vulnerable.
Yes.
Yes.
And so this project key is temporarily house them in these hotels to protect not just them, but our local communities and our, surrounding communities.
Yeah.
And so that's Project Room Key, which in Lincoln Plaza Hotel in Monterey Park, that's what that is. And I think there was a huge confusion, and I want to make sure that that's clarified. Then we have the quarantine isolation sites that are also hotels or motels are converted to isolate or quarantine those that are symptomatic of the virus or are confirmed positive. Or have symptoms and are waiting for the results. So they need to be quarantined or isolated for at least 2 weeks because they are not, and when we started the show, I mentioned those individuals may not be able to isolate or quarantine themselves. And then the hospitals, as Dr. Chang was saying, we cannot hold everybody because we must help the hospitals decompress. We can't have everybody in the hospital. So we are helping that whole flow of things. So again, there's two different things going on here. And myself and Dr. Chang, we work directly at the quarantine isolation sites. And, we work long hours every day. And we have an incredible team. I am so blessed personally to work with people like Dr. Chang, our nursing staff, our clinical, non-clinical support, logistics, our medical director, Dr. Heidi Beyferoz, our, physicians, nurse practitioners, physician assistants, everybody. If you really think about it, every day that they're there, it's not just for the money that they're there. They're there because they want to help.
Yes.
And every day they're taking that risk. And
in Dr. Chan's case, he can't stay away from it.
Yeah, and he
volunteers come in.
He volunteers. Can you believe
He goes
that?
against the trend.
He volunteers his
Right?
services.
Yes.
So?
But one thing I want to be very clear that we've been very blessed. We have the proper protective gears.
Okay, now, back to the protesters. What are they protesting?
So I believe that they thought that Project Room Key was a quarantine isolation site, and they were upset because for some reason the protesters think that if there's a quarantine isolation site in their city, that maybe they're all going to get this virus. But actually, it's the opposite. We are protecting them from these. Imagine we've taken care of personally hundreds, several hundreds in the last 2-3 months of patients that were positive. Now imagine several hundred of these people, if they were out in the community, whether they are a mom, grandma,
That's
doctor,
even worse.
nurse, or homeless.
That's exactly my worry with my friend Joe Garner. For twice we're talking about. Your take about the about the centers, please.
Oh yes, I also worked with Dr. Taheri in the isolation unit. I think what the public most worry about today is the virus going to spreading out from where we are to the public. So it's kind of threatening to the area that they are residents state. I can ensure this to everybody. We do taking care of personal protective very seriously. I mean, everyone works in the unit. We are protective suit, fully covered, everything.
It's kind of minus pressured.
No, we don't have these negative pressures then, but we do have the suit to protect our medical person. For all the customers that we're holding in the isolation unit, they are in their rooms, okay? We do have a protocol to handle and manage everybody stay in the isolation unit. The best part for that is we try to reduce the possibility of spreading the virus to the public. So once they are taken care and they recovered, going back to the public, there will not be any threatening. So this is exactly opposite with what the people are thinking about it. We would like to take this opportunity, since we're here, to clear this and to let everybody know this is a, yes, exactly.
Could that be the fact that protesters do not know the details?
I think so.
Yes, we do think so. Yes.
Then I would say some education will do the work,
Yes.
Yes.
right?
And I feel that DHS, LA County has done and Department of Public Health has done an incredible job trying to and attempting to inform and educate.
Have you sent any flyers out to that area to let people understand?
Yes, we do working on several things I like to share with everybody. We're trying to holding some kind of presentations so everybody can understand more about what we are doing. Our public relations also going to publish some footage, pictures of what we are doing in our unit. Dr. Taheri the other day discussed with our PR, try to arrange some activities like this.
Yeah.
So pretty soon we're gonna go put this to the public.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
everybody
yeah,
can see
Let
that.
them know. Let them
Yes.
know.
But there
Yes.
are websites.
Yeah.
Department of Public Health, DPH, and LA County has websites, and there's question and answers.
I'm suggesting that the county, at the county level,
Yes.
kind of actively approach that way.
Yes.
To give them flyers,
Yes.
both in English, Chinese, Vietnamese,
Yes.
Japanese,
Oh yes,
Mandarin,
absolutely, that's a good suggestion.
Hong Kongese, whatsoever, different language
Yes.
to understand.
Yes.
What we're doing is not to endanger the community.
Correct,
Exactly.
correct,
We're-
yeah.
I mean, we are not here to harm, again, like you said,
No.
or endanger. We are trying to prevent the spread of getting worse. If we don't have these quarantine isolation sites, it would get worse.
Yes.
And
in
this
my
is step
opinion.
one, education, right?
Yes.
Correct.
Step number two, if I may recommend,
Sure.
to motivate the patriotism in our mind
Yes.
that we love America.
Yeah.
Yes.
We got to do our part.
Yes.
Yes.
If Jack Chow say, hey, you move out and somebody's going to use some center, going to use your house or apartment, I'll be happy to do it.
Oh, wow.
Oh, thank you.
I'll be happy
That
to
is
do
very
it.
kind.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a doctor. I can't cut you open, all right? So you do.
Yeah.
Okay? And then what I can do is that, okay, I can help by doing my little part. As my donation
That's
to the
so-
pot,
thank you.
to the big
Yeah,
pot,
thank
all
you.
right?
Yeah, that's
okay.
very nice.
My dear friend, we're over time. We're way over time. I'm very happy that I finally have the mothers for the crying babies, right? So once again, the credit goes to Dr. Mary Taheri, and she is the director of a county Department of Health Service. And also she is a doctor herself. And Dr. Allan Chang. Allan Chang is a professor at the Alhambra University of Medicine, and he is now a volunteer at the center, the Pandemic Quarantine Center. They are brave human beings. They are our role models. So I thank you very much. And history may remember. We make a record to posterity. How about that?
Yes.
Yes,
right?
thank you.
That someday, once upon a time, and there are two doctors who were brave enough to join Jack Chow on the show.
Thank you
All right.
so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you again. My dear friends, thank you for watching. We will do more, I promise. I wouldn't let them go easy. All right.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you so much.
Thank you. Goodbye.